at me, fella. Look here.
Stand by.
One for C-Lab, two for Troy Eagle, three for Wolverine to round out the trio. In this episode, everybody dies.
Broadcasting live from inside the power band, this is The Blah. In this episode, everybody dies. I'm your host, the Mulver Kev, along with my super-powered companions. Freedom Rock aficionado, Ben in a Jar Higo. Come on down. And of course, everybody's favorite Slab Lab, Slave 2 Weeks.
What's
Come
up?
on down. Come on down.
I like I'm the favorite Slab Lab. It's like there's no one has any other Slab Labs in their life.
And special guest this week, all the way from the west coast of the United States, Nuggety Bob.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey guys, how's that beachfront property in Idaho, bro?
You fellas playing cards?
Yeah, that was the most Corbin Dallas hello, bro, for that intro. That was terrible. That's right. Welcome to the show, folks at home, those of you residing on flat Earth, inner Earth, and in outer space. We are broadcasting live from Val Verde inside the power band. And this week, we're tackling the 2005 classic, cult classic even. And that would be Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. And once again, we have the illustrious Nuggety Bob with us because Nuggety Bob worked on this film in the sound department, and we thought it'd be fun for our little Val Kilmer Requiem month to talk about do another Val Kilmer movie and have him on, and so he could share some insights into the production, some in-depth analysis.
Welcome. Mr. Nuggety Bob.
Hi. Thanks, fellas.
Hi, Bob.
Thanks for bringing me back, man.
Hey guys.
Hey, fellas.
So, just a
You
quick
guys
one.
playing cards?
Are we? Should we acknowledge that we fucked up and we're supposed to be doing Conan right now?
Mind if we
No.
dance with your dates?
Or are we just gonna roll with it?
What do you mean?
Conan, you didn't.
I
do
realized at
Conan?
like 11 o'clock last night that we were supposed to do Conan for 300 and we're not. So it doesn't really matter, but.
No. We are. We're just going to release them out of order, man.
Okay, but how are we going to release Conan this week?
We can't. We can't release it until after we do it. We'll just label this one 301, and then we'll release Conan as 300. Simple dimple.
Okay. I like it.
Dude, this one's 299B.
We did it for episode 42, but I love it. I kind
Exactly.
of love that in a way. It's very
well,
us.
it's kind of completely us, so why not just run with it, man?
All right, fuck it.
Right? I mean, seriously, dude.
That is some jank.
That's it.
I kind of like it though. All right.
It's a little
sweet.
I think it's great, man. Come on. It's right in line with the way we do everything else. So
All right,
it
sick.
fits.
Perfect.
All right, now that we got that out of the way.
It'll be especially frustrating to listeners.
Well, I mean, fuck them. Like, we can't.
They're still
respect
getting
them.
their free show every week. I mean, if the numbers are,
They should be so
conforming, yeah,
Right.
if the numbers are conforming to what we want, then I mean, why should they care, really?
Yeah, I love that.
Are you here to do math? Or are
Sure.
you here to talk about movies? I don't know. What do you want to do?
Right?
Hey,
What are you, a fucking
So-
mathematician
Who
over
taught
here?
you math?
What are you tonight? Yeah.
I'm a very special
There's an
kind of
8% chance.
magician. I'm a math magician.
Math magician. Nice.
So, high level. Let's do that first, like we always do.
Yeah.
All right,
Let's
I'll
do
go
it.
ahead and go first.
Yeah,
Super.
do it.
This movie, I remember saying that I'd seen it a long time ago, and I didn't really remember it. But I don't even know if I did see it. But I tell you what, this movie was so good. I loved it. I loved every minute of it. I forgot that it was Shane Black that did this movie. He wrote it and directed it. It was fantastic, man. Everything was great. Dialogue, very kind of, modern noir and comedy and all kinds of good stuff wrapped in there, I don't
Darth
really
Vader
know what
wrapped
else to
in there?
say. Yeah, little Darth Vader wrapped in there. And you got Kilmer and Downey Jr. and Larry Miller, who I love, Corbin, Michelle Monaghan, and it was great. I love it. I'll leave it at there. Next contestant.
Sorry, just to ask you a question. So you were saying you've seen it a bit, but not like a million times. Is that
No,
what you're saying?
I thought I had seen it a while ago, and didn't really remember it. But when I watched it last night, I was like, I don't know, maybe I haven't seen this. So that's all.
Really? I thought you've always been like spouting its wonderfulness. Huh. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I have. I have.
That was just me vicariously spouting through him.
Yeah.
Well, no,
It's a good
you're
movie.
right. I
I
have.
don't have a lot to add, but like definitely seen this a couple times. I remember being rather chuffed by it back in the day, and
Whoa, chuff.
it's Robert Downey Jr. at its Robert Downey Jr.iest. It is sarcastic Tony
True.
Starkiest, which, in reading and prepping, it turns out this was a major factor in him getting the Tony Stark role. So like, it kind of makes sense in a way, but it's a lot of fun, dude. And I'm glad we did Batman fucking sucks a couple weeks ago, but like, this is such a good Val Kilmer role, dude. Oh my God. I think this might be my favorite Val Kilmer role, having revisited it. So
Yeah, this might be up there in his top 5 for sure.
So it was a lot of fun. Like, I don't know. I'm into the noir stuff. I'm not like super noir nerdy and stuff. And I kind of liked that this was a comedy noir as opposed to like a serious hard boiled one. And it was just a bunch of fun to revisit. So
Totally.
Nice.
Benny.
Yeah. This is, I don't know, maybe my fourth or fifth or something viewing of this movie. Loved it the first time. Still love it. Really funny, great, fucking quippy,
real quippy.
quick dialogue.
Super.
Like, you got to pay attention or you'll miss jokes. I think Kilmer and Downey and Monaghan have like great chemistry going on. Like, good cast work together. I don't know. It's just it's a blast to watch. It's a little convoluted. I found myself feeling like there were like maybe some loose ends by the end of it on this watching, paying attention to it with the podcaster's eye, but nothing that I'm gonna remove any points for, because I don't think it's not so much about the mystery as the journey. Like,
Yes.
So
Well said.
yeah, and a Shane Black movie. No surprise there. Love Shane
Gotta
Black.
love it. Right. And now over to the
Leave it
Nuggety Bob.
Yeah. I don't know, this little project, I don't know, it's for me, it was really nostalgic because the job working it was at a time in my career where I was kind of transitioning into totally different area and wasn't quite in the union. So I hadn't worked on big shows yet with kind of more big name actors. And so it was a weird, interesting time for me because I was just started building into this sound career that I didn't like. It wasn't an aim, but I was just kind of falling into it. And then Robert Downey and Val Kilmer were both at kind of weird places in their career at the same time.
Mhm.
So for me, the whole movie and remembering it's just a big nostalgic thing for me. And I really love it because it was a really good opportunity movie for me to work on, but then being able to watch it later and kind of, I don't know, it's got that great indie, lower budget, under the radar vibe to it. And like Shane Black's, he did what was it, The Last Boy Scout also? That was kind of always under the radar favorite of mine too.
So good.
Yeah, the kind of jokey noir, sometimes serious, sometimes goofy. And these two, they had such a good, it was like they had so many inside jokes amongst each other as actors. And I think they brought that into the roles and it played really well. So yeah, it's just been great to kind of revisit this for me personally.
Totally.
Cool.
Is
It's a lot.
is it weird watching a thing that you've worked on in terms of like anything in particular, or like is it hard to get into the flick because you've seen it from a different perspective? Like, is there anything there to that?
Yeah, no, that's actually a really good question, because I normally, like, even as a fan of movies before, and I wanted to be a writer and a director, and so I was looking at movies from kind of a different perspective. I always try to watch a movie and let myself get into the suspension of disbelief on first watch. So I just want to see it as a viewer, movie fan, and be able to appreciate it that way. But when you work on it, you can't really do that, because you're remembering whatever different moments, and it could just be some like random non-important moment in the movie, but all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, I remember that night where this was going on, and whatever else you were experiencing outside of the movie was,
Yeah.
you start remembering, or you're like, oh, I really love this actor, this person got their start in this movie, and they were such a good person that you love to see them go on to better things. So there's a lot of, or even just sometimes there's great stuff that you guys film and then it doesn't make the movie, and you're like, I would have loved to have seen this. Or so it's really hard watching it as having worked on it from just a fan perspective, because all of those kind of thoughts intrude, and you can't.
Yeah.
It's hard to kind of get away from that. But it's also, on a movie like this, it's good to rewatch, because you're rooting for, like, I remember my boss, who would give me the really good lay of the land coming into a show, and he was talking about Michelle Monaghan. Is like, oh yeah, this is like her first lead role.
Yeah,
she's
I was gonna
really
say
great, and
bit of a breakthrough.
when you come and you work on it, like, she's got this really cool, sexy, approachable, fun vibe. And so
Totally.
you root for people, and you get a script like this and read it, and like, oh, this is really clever and cool dialogue, and then it's like, oh, it's these two actors and they're really good at it, and so you hope it does well. That's kind of the things, like, you're watching in the theater and
Sure.
like rooting for it. So it's different than if I go see a movie that I know other people involved in it, but I didn't have any kind of interaction. So yeah, it's a different process, and you got a whole different kind of thing in your mind. So it's hard to remove the professional, like, you're critiquing it and you're like, oh, I wonder why they chose that take instead of this other one. Or where you get to see, like, oh, the lighting really worked in this, and I was wondering, I was hoping it would look better than it did on the night. Or so there's all that kind of stuff that kind of runs through your mind. But in a movie like this, it's like, I'd love to see these guys back, working and riffing off each other and the choices that they make as actors. And then you kind of get to appreciate from what you saw in the movie and on the set, and the take after take, and kind of see which ones cut together and what works well. And it's a good example, this movie, of like working on something you liked being a part of, you hope it does well, and then in spite of, like, okay, not a lot of people went to see it, but it was still like, it turned out, you want to be proud of your work at the end of the day. So
Yeah.
Sure.
the fact that I can go back and watch this like 20 years later, like, yeah, it's a really good movie. It's great.
The
to have
ultimate,
that.
yeah, kind of like the perfect situation. It sounds like, man, because this movie kind of hit like every box. It was like kind of independent, cool director, cool cast, like good project to work on, low douche factor, like all that stuff. No, really. And then like, kind of went under the radar, but this movie very much has become like, it's always mentioned in all these other media, like, and that kind of plays to your comment before, Chad. Like, I'm constantly hearing this movie referenced, as I'm researching other films and whatnot. You know what I mean? Is how good it is, and it's gone on to become a cult favorite, dude. And rightly so. Like, this is a very cool, unique movie, man. And I think to kind of kick off the unpacking section, or whatever the hell you want to call it, like I knew Shane Black did Last Boy Scout, but like I had forgotten like how much like an old crime thriller, like a noir crime thriller, Last Boy Scout is. So it's like the movies are actually tonally kind of similar, man. They have that
they really are.
same kind of, let's take a 1940s thriller, throw it in the modern era, and then, add in some modern music and like some, modern comedy. And like, I always had rolled my eyes at Last Boy Scout. I was like, blah, whatever. And, no, really. And then I
It's a
saw
You
personal
it.
hadn't
and I
seen
was
it
like-
until we did it, I think, right?
I had not seen it until we did it, and I was so into it. I absolutely loved it, man. I thought it was fantastic. And similar with this, like they're very similar films, man, in tone and pacing and everything. So, it's very cool. I like that.
Yeah.
I was just talking to somebody the other day about The Last Boy Scout, and like one of my favorite
you weren't.
lines. I was. True story, bro.
Don't make it up, bro. You weren't talking to anybody. Nobody lives out there except that guy that Ben watches the videos on.
What's the guy?
He's
I
talking to my dog.
I ride into town to get get my eggs in the parking lot from the guy. I got an egg guy.
Parking lot. Nice.
And everybody loves a good dozen parking lot eggs.
Yeah, dude.
That's right.
Little eggs for meth.
You
Eggs for
can
meth.
go buy the weed at the store, but then you got to buy the good eggs from the guy in the parking lot out the back of the
Mhm.
street.
Yeah, man.
I think we'll call this episode
yeah.
Eggs for Meth with Nuggety Bob.
Black market eggs.
Scrambled
go.
fresh for you.
Hey, Benny, what's the name of that show you watch from those guys that are on
Shenanigans?
Sandpoint or whatever, right near Preston? What's that name of that?
Grind hard plumbing.
Grind hard.
Grind hard?
Grind
Yes,
hard.
grind hard plumbing.
They're making a trike out of a tractor wheel at the moment.
Oh my god!
Where you ride inside the wheel.
Inside the front wheel.
Yeah.
I hope they get
Holy
President
shit.
Comanche to take that
Dude,
thing
they
out for
got
a spin.
They got a lifted limousine on track wheels. Wow.
They
Okay.
got all kinds
cool.
of shit going
Track
on over
wheels.
I don't want to.
You got to use the
derail
track
that.
wheels.
I just wanted to bookmark that for later. I wasn't trying to.
there. Yeah,
derail
go
us.
on a deep dive there.
Derail us on the tracks.
I think they have every possible version of like a track conversion for
Yeah.
Nice.
motorcycles, cars, etc. Yeah.
I think my
Sweet.
favorite thing about them is how not precious they are. They're like, hey, we just finished this thing, but we're making a new thing. So we ripped the wheels off the thing we just finished to make the new thing. It's like, okay, man.
I like that. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
Very
yeah.
cool.
I don't know. You were talking about like this with Last Boy Scout. They're similar, but they're different. Like I think Last Boy Scout is, this is a terrible analogy, but like the Damon Wayans-ness of it is very different than the Robert Downey Jr.-ness of it.
No doubt.
Good point. Yeah.
And I think like the sarcasm / wit of Val Kilmer's, Gay Perry was just
Gay Perry.
such a different vibe than the Bruno.
Is he still Gay Perry?
I mean, sure, than the Bruno bit, but they do have a
Deep in-
lot in common for sure. And they're both the kind of noir that I really like. Like I like that. I don't know. I'm obviously just being that fucking hipster who's like, I like the new stuff better than the old stuff, but like
Sure.
these movies and like Brick, with
Yeah.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt, like I just like the newer takes on the noir. I find kind of the
Sure.
older noirs are fine, but they just like, I don't know, they're just so old school that sometimes you're just like, eh.
Well, the old noirs, like the OGs, they're dark. Like literally,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's why they're called that, because they came out in the 50s when just it was kind of a dark time after World War II, Korean War looming, or we were in it, and it's like those stories had non-happy endings, which you never had in movies. Like, so those original noirs, like they are depressing, dude, and they are dark, and somebody dies at the end and there is no bow, there is no any of that. So these are definitely more palatable, man, because I mean, certainly the two that we're talking about and kind of Brick too are, they're funny.
Yeah.
In addition.
Well, in the newness too, the thing about the Boy Scout in this movie that I think Shane Black does really well is kind of being able to point out, like you do something that could be considered cliche, but you kind of point it out and mention it tongue in cheek. And so it brings the audience along, like, okay, here's the time where we do the thing with the guy who sticks the gun in your back and he says, "Come with me," but in reality, you would do something different, and here's why.
Yes.
So there's
I do like that. Yeah.
That's not an easy thing to kind of walk the right line with, and
Yeah.
that's kind of one of the things that, Last Boy Scout, it's like, okay, we got the buddy cop or the buddy investigation thing, and yeah, you've seen it a bunch
Sure.
of times, but we're going to point that out to you, and it somehow makes that more fresh, or the fact that they're like, oh, okay, hold on, we're going to stop the film and I'm going to narrate a bit now to you.
Yeah.
Brings you in and like, okay, we're going to point out the cliche thing, but we're still going to do the cliche thing in a way that works, and it makes it a little fresher or whatever. But I dig the way that it comes out.
Dopes out.
I hadn't thought about it until you just said it, but it's quite obvious. It's like a rather early version of the Deadpool thing, like the tongue and cheekiness of it, and the like awareness that it's in a movie kind of thing. Yeah, I can't recall other stuff that really kind of did that.
Breaking the fourth wall, they call it.
Yes,
it's clever here because I imagine that there is a universe where they don't do the freeze frame Downey Jr. explains the thing, and the movie actually feels a little bit more cheesy because the viewer would be like, oh, they're trying too hard to be a noir, as opposed to it being that tongue-in-cheekiness. So I think it's a really interesting and risky idea.
Well, and that's what I like. Yeah, it's like I said, it's kind of hard to walk that fine line, and so it's a risk to even just take it on. And the fact that these guys are such good actors and being able to do that, and kind of, the Robert Downey Jr.-ness that you talk about, like he's so good with that level of like, maybe a little big and over the top, but it's in a way that you can still relate, or it humanizes it, or he's really good with that kind of pushing that boundary.
And he's a fuck up, but he's a fuck up that maybe has something that can back it up until he gets in a fight at the party, and it's like, oh, okay, no, he's just a fuck up.
Cut to
he just gets fucking shit pushed in. It was quite funny.
He has a certain charm and
he's got
likability.
mega charm, dude. Mega charm.
But I think, it's funny, like that stuff draws you in, and it draws you in. He has a way of drawing people in and making them get on board with him and like him. And I don't just necessarily mean the character. It's like,
no, it's him. Yeah.
It's kind of both,
he feels like he'd be fun to be around, I
absolutely. And it's like he did it with Iron Man, and he's done it with everything subsequently past that. And it's like, even before, when he was really struggling, like I remember even like we did Back to School and shit, like, and Weird Science. We did both of those. Those are early Downies, man. And it's like, he's so memorable and he's so likable. Even when he's being a dick, even when the character is a dick, you're like, you're just kind of drawn to him. And I think it's
dude, Wayne Gale, Natural Born Killers. Remember that one? Like even that one.
Right, exactly, man. But it's in the same way that like you feel when you listen to a piece of music, man.
A bowl of Dom on ice and then shove a hot pepper up your ass, baby.
It's just so much fun.
You know what I mean? When you listen to music and you get like, you can like feel that energy in the music. You know what I mean? Like, it's the same thing, man. It's weird how that energy translates through mediums, man. Like it can be recorded in a recording, and then a listener later can still feel that, man. And there's tons of songs like that. I mean, the one that I'm going to reference is, I don't know why I'm referencing it. Probably, I don't know. It's like, there's something about Jagged Little Pill. It's like, when you listen to
dude,
that,
hang on. Let me get my wife. She's the biggest Lance Morissette fan.
Hold on, dude. Hold on. It's like, when you listen to that, man, you can feel how fucking pissed she is, and like how completely eviscerated she got. And it's like, it's scary. I mean, there's other examples out there. That's the one that kind of jumps into my head.
Yeah,
you can also feel like the catharsis and
exactly.
At the same time.
Exactly, man. And it's amazing how a medium, film or audio, can record that and like imprint that and then pass it along. Like, that is fascinating to me. And like, you can, because like, if I'm driving down the road and an Alanis song comes on, if I happen to be listening to terrestrial radio, which is rarer these days, like you can still hear that shit every time you hear it. You know what I mean? Like that's the crazy thing about it. So, it's like that charm that Downey has is like so transcendent, man. It's very cool. And in this movie, it really, really works well, dude, because lines up with his character so well. You know what I mean? So it just,
And so does his history, really.
100%, 100%, Chad. And
the timing of the movie and his history is very
That's perfect.
He's this character. Well, I think also that goes to your point, Kev, and what you're bringing up, Emma Walsh, is there was I read or watched, I don't remember what, but years ago there was an interview that he was a part, Robert Downey Jr. was a part of, and it was him and a couple of other actors, and they're talking about comment sections or website chat groups that talk about them. And these other actors were being kind of close to the vest and like, oh, well, yeah, I know these people talk about me. They're obsessed. And I don't know what the thing, they're kind of like trying to be distant. And he just kind of blows it all up. He's like, yeah, I read that shit. I read what people say about me. It's kind of fascinating. He's like, you find these kind of different camps where some people, they want to shit on you for the mistakes you've made or what's been in the news. And there's other people who they want to defend you like they're your friend, like they actually know you. And that's kind of fascinating. These people think they know me. So he's just totally honest, and admitting like, oh yeah, I read what people say. I read the chat groups. And like, I kind of go in there and browse on, in Burrito. I'm like, don't say that it's me, but I listen to what they're saying. And just, there's a certain
Burrito. I love that.
I love that too, man.
Beavis and Butthead, like, yeah, I'm in Burrito.
Oh wow, I remember that. That's funny. I like that a lot.
But the fact that he was so in this group of peers that were so reticent and like, but he just blows it up. He's like, I know you guys all do the same shit, so I'm just going to throw it out there. And I think part of that is like the recovering addict when they get stripped bare to just like, okay, I got to admit like the shittiest shit about myself as a human being to the guys in my group or my therapist or whatever. Like, yeah, I'm an addict and this is like, I'm just stripped bare, naked, open. This is me. So the fact that he kind of, going through all the shit he was going through in those early 2000s and just being able to still be that kind of like sort of a stripped, naked, vulnerable thing that he brings that honesty into his characters. And so what, makes Iron Man Tony Stark so relatable is everybody can go, the person with flaws. And he takes it on and he's so kind of open about it. Like, right. This is who I am. This is how it is. But he's got that charming smart assness kind of dialed in just right too. So, it's not like, oh, this guy's such an asshole. I'm so tired of hearing him tell his story. It's like, and they're like, oh yeah, you've been through that. Tell me more. Like, yeah, I'm in.
Right.
I'm on your side. Let's go.
I'm actually curious to see what he's like as Dr. Doom. Just because of
I'm not overly excited. It's him. I'll check it out. Yeah.
I'm not overly excited about the whole thing. But like just keeping it in the frame of what we're talking about, I'm curious, to see how that goes.
Well, what came to mind to me a second ago, and again, it's pretty obvious, but I had never thought about it before, is you've got his honesty as a person close to this character. So he's already just generally an honest person, cool. And he fits close to this character, also cool. Like it's a good choice from a casting perspective. And then you've got Tony Stark, and he's not close necessarily to Tony Stark, but the honesty because you have fuck you money is a very similar thing. Like he's so rich that he doesn't have to give a fuck and he can just be honest. So it's kind of a different thing, but they both work in an interesting way. So it's interesting.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
But to your point, Kev, like, how do you do a Dr. Doom? Like, is he just going to be like stoically standing there quietly brooding? Like, that doesn't seem very Robert Downey Jr.
I don't know.
So
I know. I'm curious to see how he utilizes that charm in that role.
It's going to be like a kooky.
Cue the Addams Family theme song. He's kinky and he's kooky. He's all together spooky. He may be. Yes.
Uh-oh.
I'm here. My power just went out. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Yes.
You would have kept him no.
Yeah, I heard it's going to be a kooky.
Again.
Yeah, that's fine. So your local recording, Benny, of it's going to be a kooky. Like I can tie that in, so we can. Yeah, that's fine. Hang on, I'm on my phone internet because my router's.
Speaking of which, I just started recording on my end. Dope.
Oh, really? So we don't have it's a kooky,
dude.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. Well, if we can just redo that comment, then we'll be fine. Hang on, let me just.
Did it get recorded somewhere, dude?
Yes. Everything has been recorded up until Ben said it's gonna
Right.
be kooky.
What a bunch of fuck ups! Holy shit!
Yeah, I've got
You guys
my
are ragging
backup
on-
recordings.
and you're ragging
It
on
was
me
all
about
the,
the
it was
fucking.
all the drama at the beginning. I just like
No, I
got
know.
distracted,
It's like
and then, yeah.
we can't get him
forgot
sorted
to hit
out,
fucking
and then you
record on
forget
this
to
end.
do that, and then we have the
As
whole
an audio
numbering
engineer,
thing.
let me tell you how to do it correctly.
Don't
here.
worry, it's episode 301. It's gonna come out first. It's totally fine.
Exactly. It's episode 301, and then you guys are like, "You're crazy, Wolverine."
Trust me,
Okay.
I'm pre-law.
Yeah, trust me, I'm pre-med. I thought you were pre-med.
My advice to you is to begin drinking heavily.
Yes. What is that? 222, 223?
221, whatever it takes.
As a lawyer, I advise you to take the acid.
Uh-oh, now we're fucked. He just dropped his whole rig on the ground.
Broke my chair. As you're like, is that the Samoan attorney? Benicio del Toro advising?
It's Harvey Birdman, attorney at law.
Harvey Birdman. Nice.
I gotta get I gotta cue up the Price is Right theme song for the
Oh,
opening
yeah.
of this.
Oh, yeah.
All right, hang on. I'm gonna swap over to my Wi-Fi.
Come on down.
Hopefully, it doesn't drop it again.
Or we can just have Ben do it. You know what I think would actually be better is if Ben, can you just record like after we get done with this? Can you just record like a little? Can you record yourself doing the Price is Right theme song?
like which bit? Like
Just the come on down part, like the music where they come on down and it's like really exciting, you know, like do it like, you know, with all the little Beatles and the Deedles in there. That's really what we need.
I will make sure I get all the Beatles and Deedles in there.
Get all them Beatles and Deedles in there. There you go, dude. Schooly boo, schooly boo, schooly bully bully boo. The price is wrong, bitch.
I had the best idea for what I think is the best idea for a commercial for The Price is Right. When Drew Carey took over, and it was like,
yes,
Drew Carey's having like a nightmare, like he spins the wheel for the first time. And like it breaks free and like just keeps fucking rolling, you know, and he's like chasing after it. Like,
I think you're onto something there.
I mean, it's a little late now. He's been doing it for years, but like,
but if we could make a sketch, right? Okay, like if we had all the money in the world and we could make a sketch tomorrow, that would be a fun project to do, dude. Our own Price is Right opening version where the wheel comes off and destroys everything in the city.
right? I mean, it'd be the perfect. It's like a, you know, like before Drew Carey starts, he's like having like a stress dream. You know, it's like the first time the wheel fucking spins, it like just comes loose and like it's just like
No, like I'm picturing like you just keep playing the goofy music, dude, but the wheel rolls off the stage. It like knocks a dude out, then it rolls down the thing,
goes straight
through the wall.
Fucking, yeah,
outside,
exactly.
and it's like crushing cars, and like people are getting killed, and the music's just still playing, and everybody's like,
exactly.
You know. So
exactly,
we need to make that happen.
Exactly, and he's like, "What the hell's wrong with you people?" You know, like trying to chase it and stop it. And
they're all just jumping up and down, clapping.
Yeah,
I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Where'd the wheel go?
Trying desperately to stop it, and nobody's helping him.
that's it right there. Yo.
So, you ready to jump back in?
Yes,
We're in.
So I was saying
we're
something
already
about
in.
like Downey
I never
Jr. being
left.
like broody and stoic and quiet, and then you said something, Benny, about him. You wanted to jump back in there?
Yes.
I don't even remember what I was saying at that point. I mean, we're talking about his charisma, etc., and like that just seems to be something that he has on call.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's something that he turns on whenever a camera's happening or like if it's just what he's like, but
No, it seems like
they're-
it's just what he's like, but that's just
yeah,
me.
he seems to be like pretty quick and pretty witty, and just generally charismatic and funny. Yeah, and I don't know if that's a learned thing, from doing roles like this, or if that's like just what he's like. But
you can turn it off, I guess. He was in Oppenheimer and won a fucking Oscar, and he wasn't Tony fucking Stark. Like he did a pretty solid job there.
Well, he was raised by a filmmaker who introduced him to weed at 6 years old. So that might have something
true.
to
Hey,
do with
that
it.
could
might have something to do with it.
Like, here, kid, have a smoke. Gee, Dad,
Right?
thanks.
Thanks, Dad.
Not sure if that would help or hinder your wittiness, and quickness, but
It's not quite as bad as the Anthony Kiedis dad thing with the prostitute, but it's not far off.
Right.
But the thing though about him, like, there's people that come from like, there's people like Val Kilmer's son, Jack Kilmer. There's people like Maya Hawke that come from like two parents that are like these mega actors. You know what I mean? But like Downey Sr. was like he wasn't like a Coppola, or like a Spielberg like level dude. You know what I mean? Like he seemed like a little kind of kookier. I don't know because I don't really know a lot about him, but that's what it seems like to me. So
That guy,
I don't know.
I'm going to jump in with a little inside the behind the true Hollywood story.
Inside behind the true Hollywood story. Go. I love it.
Inside
Charlie
behind.
Murphy. So I was involved with Sundance, like the film festival and the filmmakers labs for a couple of years back before the turn of the century. And then that was also a time where Robert Downey Jr. was going through his drug addicted, so there were a lot of these like little low budget, mid budget indie movies that would film in Park City, Utah, and they'd bring him out there. And part of it was, I think it was under the guise of like, well, if we keep him working, he'll be less likely to get completely shit-faced. And so we'll try to bring him out. And then it just turned into like in Park City, there were a lot of people who were coming out to bring him drugs and hang out like sycophants and stuff. But his dad had a movie in Sundance called Hugo Pool that he was in. And gosh, we were talking about this. What's the girl, Kevin? Mulvey.
Michelle Moynihan?
No. In Hugo Pool, it's Who's the Boss?
Oh, Alyssa Milano.
Alyssa Milano, yeah.
we were drooling about her the other night. Yes,
reminiscing about childhood crushes. And but so Robert Downey Sr. was there with this movie, and it was at a time where you could go to Sundance and just kind of like after the movie, you walk up and there's the director and the actors. You just start chit-chatting and have a conversation, and then like, hey, let's go grab a beer down the street at the bar. Okay, and so you can talk. So I was talking to his dad for a long time. And he happened to be in rehab at that moment, but his dad was an interesting guy. But yeah, he was kind of more in that independent, like under the radar, low budget movie type of filmmaker. Like he was never going to be doing a blockbuster hit type movie. But he gave me some really good advice because he's like, what are you doing? What do you want to do? You want to be an actor? You want to be a director? You're a writer? And I was like, well, yeah, I'm writing stuff, but mostly because I want to direct it.
right.
And I want to. And he goes, oh, here's. Let me tell you. Don't ever direct anything you don't write. Don't ever write anything that you're not going to direct. He's like, just don't waste your time with that kind of stuff. And I was like, one, that's really great advice. I love it. And two, if I should be so lucky to get into that position, I'll keep that in mind. But right now I'm just trying to get. If anybody reads my script and wants to buy it, I'll be fucking happy as all can be. But yeah, it was weird because there was a guy there at the festival at the time who was like a Spanish director that looked exactly like Robert Downey Jr. And so people kept thinking he was there. Like,
Which fits this movie perfectly.
He's here for the movie. And so they keep seeing him and like, wait, hey, Robert Downey. And the guy's
hey,
like,
Spanish Robert Downey Jr.
Hey?
Spanish Robert Downey Jr.
Yes, it fits the movie perfectly. Native American Joe Pesci.
Dude,
Brazilian Dolly Bob Thornton.
I had these friends in the 90s that were like,
Dude,
we would all hang out and they would do that kind of thing. And so when this was in the movie, I just absolutely loved it because I was like, oh my gosh. And my friends, we still do, we do that thing. It's like you kind of look around and you try to find that, like,
yeah, totally.
There's Kmart Billy Bob Thornton or whatever.
But the Billy Bob Brazilian one, I love how the response is like, it's a bit of a stretch. Like, he's so
right. But punk rock Steven Seagal was my favorite, and that was
good.
kind of
and the legit
spot on.
really well done spit take helps that one too.
Right.
Oh
yeah,
the girl is so charming.
Over next,
she's interesting.
American Joe Pesci.
I never realized that this was her breakthrough.
I didn't know that either, actually.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess, like Gone Baby Gone and stuff. She's in the new White Lotus, which I just am not really big on the show, but I'm sure it's good, and it's good to see her getting work. But I was
Which
just
White
like,
Lotus? Is that a show or something?
Yeah, it's a fucking stupid ass show.
Sorry, keep talking. I'll look it up.
No, it's fine. I guess I was just kind of like seeing her here and just being like, yeah, that's Michelle Monaghan. I know her. Like, fucking, she's in everything. And then I looked through her list of stuff and I was just like, actually, she's been in a lot of stuff that I know, but I was just kind of couldn't place where I know her from. And I think it's this, like Gone Baby Gone, sure. Or like she has a very micro role in the end sequence hospital of Constantine just before this. But
right,
hasn't been in a million things, but I love her.
Huh?
She's got those the Tom Cruise-y Mission
the Mission Impossible stuff. I've never really been into like the Mission Impossible 27s. I like the first one, but
they're good. They're good. I've watched a bunch of them. They're good.
I want to just throw something out there about her performance here and get a physical correction, because
a physical correction.
She does a really good job.
To say that?
I did, yeah. She does a good. I need to be. Okay. I think I need to be slapped. So I want some sense slapped into me here.
Sometimes you need a physical correction.
Yeah, I need a physical correction. I feel like she didn't do a great job in the beginning. I was just kind of like, she's not really doing it. And then as the movie progressed, she got better and better. And I don't know whether I got used to her in the role or whether she actually is so goddamn good that she starts off not good in the role because it aligns with her character trying to be an actor and not succeeding. Like, I don't know. And like the vibe that she gave off to me is like she is in that like 90s stunner kind of Liv Tyler. Like there was like a quintessential 90s starlet kind of vibe, and she really exudes that vibe, and I love it. But I feel like I pigeonholed her into not being as capable an actor as I probably should have. And by the end of the movie, I really liked her in it, and I thought she was doing an excellent job. So I just don't know if I have anything there, or if you vibe with any of that, or if it's just I need a physical correction. I think I just need a physical correction.
Yeah, you do. You're wrong.
You need to repeat everything you just said for the last 15
we
seconds
didn't catch
because
the end of that.
Okay.
It
actually played perfectly. The silence played perfectly.
Land.
It did. It actually did. And my answer is you do need a physical correction, and the correction is that you're wrong.
Yeah.
Benny, you had something to say?
Well,
slap.
Yeah, no, I thought she was great, and I thought like she was like the third leg of the bar stool. You know, like she was like that third pillar, like holding up like the because it's really just it's just her and Val and Robert that like are the main pillars of the movie, and like she's just as strong a pillar as the other two. Like, I thought she was great. I thought she was like really funny. Really just did like just good work with the other people. Like good. I don't know. Whatever. I'm falling apart here.
It's like
I'm coming to your rescue. You got Robert Downey Jr. and Val Kilmer, and you're this unknown actress.
Yeah, that's fair.
And she really holds her own in that group really well for being the like, I'm just the and he could just be, I'm just the damsel in distress. I'm just the starlet. I'm just the thing. But I think she comes up and raises up to the level, and brings it, as they say sometimes.
Sure.
And do you see that
She
on
was-
set?
yeah,
Like, is it something that
Well,
you can tell whether someone is rising to the occasion or not in the actual shooting?
It depends. Like on it's so kind of to throw my personal stuff into this. Prior to this, I was doing a lot of work in like lighting and grip, where you're like securing the camera, or you're setting up a dolly track, or you're setting the lights up, and then when they shoot the scene, you're nowhere near
Not
the
there.
place, so you don't know what's going on. You don't read the script. You don't really care or need to care about the actors' performances. And by the time they're shooting, you're just off somewhere trying to be quiet and stay out of the way. But then in the sound department, you're involved in a lot of that stuff. And so you get to see the performances, you're up close to it, or at least nearby, and you're watching the monitors. And so there's definitely, I mean, sometimes there's movies where you think like, oh, this is going to be so good. And then it cuts together and it looks like absolute crap.
Totally.
But generally, like when there's an actor who is rising to the occasion, or they're holding their own, or they're really putting up a good performance, there's stuff where like people on the set, like you get that vibe, like you're talking about earlier, the Alanis Morissette, the vibe that just comes through. That it doesn't matter the medium, you still get that raw emotion. And when somebody's putting that into a performance, you feel that on set, and you're just like, oh man, I just hope that it gets captured in a way that we get that same feeling watching in the theater.
Right.
So yeah, there's, it's like in a movie like this where it's like, oh yeah, this kind of unknown actress is in here and playing with these guys that are pretty well known. Like, yeah, on set, it's like, oh yeah, she's really good. Like people, there's a thing of like, yeah, she's great. She's, cool person, really doing well with these guys. Like I've been on other movies actually just like a year or two before this, where there were like some really heavy, like Malcolm McDowell and like kind of heavyweight actors, and then a newer, younger actress who's maybe unproven, or she's been in some other stuff, and then like just struggling to keep up even anywhere near them, and there's a big difference between the two. So it's like, in a show like this where she's doing well and they're kind of bringing her along, contrasted to some of the other examples I've seen where it's like, somebody like Malcolm McDowell, like you get through the take and they're like, oh yeah, keep going to classes, kid, or, some kind of shit like that, where they're literally just insulting the actress or the actor to their face of like, wow, you're so JV, basically.
Wow, so fucked up.
That's fucking brutal.
Try and keep
really
up.
up.
But there's some people that are they're so out of their depth, they're out of their element, where it's just like, you're not there. And they, I don't know. Yeah, actors can be shitty with each other, but there's also kind of a self-preservation to that. Or there's some people, I don't know, I can't remember if Val Kilmer had this vibe or bad reputation, but there are some actors who you'll get into the scenes and they're shooting, if you're doing a scene with me and they're shooting over my shoulder to do your close-up work, or your singles, what they call it, before you get to the close-up, and they'll maybe overact, or they'll get overly emotional. And so it draws you in to play against that overacting. And then when they go back to cut my side, then I'll play something more subdued and a little more realistic. And so it makes your performance look shitty. And there's a lot of actors out there that'll do that, kind of like they'll undermine the other actors in their scene part of it's ego, part of it's like, well, if they look like shit on their takes, then they'll spend more time on me, on the money right over here. Yeah. This is where you want to. Oh my God. So they get, you get some of those games that people play with each other, or they'll, sometimes it's this kind of running joke of like, okay, we're going to do coverage on the other person. So I'll just put just give me a headshot in the C-stand of the other actor. And then I'm going to be out in my trailer, just put my headshot here on the scene and I'll be in the trailer drinking, so it's like some actors just don't even give their scene partners anything at all. No. They'll do some crappy performance because it makes the other person look bad in the edits. So, when you get on a show like this where they're just like, let's just do good work, and they're having a good time with each other, and Val Kilmer and Robert Downey Jr. are doing so well. They're like, it's like they're high school buddies goofing on each other.
Yeah.
Right. So when you have that kind of an including, like, oh yeah, she's doing well, we've got our own inside thing, let's bring her in. It really
elevates,
it helps build each other up, instead of like, oh, it's about me. Like there's a bit in that commentary I was watching where Val Kilmer and Robert Downey Jr. and Shane Black were talking, and there was this scene where Michelle's got to be really emotional, and it's her big scene, and she talks about the fact that Robert Downey kind of let her be what she needed to be for that scene. She had to go to like really emotional place, and he made her feel comfortable to do that. And so he's the kind of actor who he understands that, hey, if my scene partner does a great performance, it makes me look better because the scene's better and we're more believable together. He doesn't have that shitty thing about like, I need a camera on me, so I'm going to play these little games in the scene. And that makes the other actors feel comfortable. And you can pick that up on the set. Like when people,
right.
when the actors are more like, let's make this a great show versus let's make this about me, it makes everything better. Like just the morale of the show. And then everybody gets on board where the crew is like, hey, let's make this something really special. You know, let's give these guys everything they need to help them out. So this movie's a good example of that.
I feel like it's like every time I come across an industry and I'm like, oh, surely it's full of nice people that do nice things, you know, like whether it's, you know, the aid industry that I was involved in for a while, or, you know, Kevin and I were talking recently about like having kids in the hospital, not giving a fuck, you know, like it's just like my bubble was never really like fully formed, but it was just kind of popped a little bit with what you said. I'm like actually bummed. I'm like, fuck, man, really? Like these fucking people are going to play these games. Like they're so lucky to be able to be sitting there. They're going to fuck with each other for the sake of their stupid ass. It makes sense that there's people
it's
like
really
that. It's
annoying.
such a bummer, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck.
It is. It's such a bummer, dude.
There's assholes in every corner of every.
There's some very special assholes in that
thing
business.
you could do.
Well, the Malcolm McDowell thing, like, sure, it's harsh, but it was probably true as fuck, you know? And like, maybe it was him trying to self-preserve and make it be like, that wasn't me, not my fault. But like, on the other hand, it's like, sometimes you need that, like, raise your fucking game kind of moment, you know? And like, it's brutal. And whether it's a actor or an actress across from you, a young man or woman, like, it might actually be the verbal slap that allows you to rise to the occasion. You know what I mean? Like you just
exactly.
You either got it or you fucking don't, dude. And if you don't and it's a miss, it's like, sorry, it's a miss. And you do hear, you know, reading in the Nugget sections about actors who get clipped and then they bring someone else in, you know? If you can do it,
sometimes that's not about it's not about their ability. They just might not be right for that part.
Yeah, exactly.
They might just be misreading that moment, and you know they're getting something different. Like I've been on shows like we bring in this great guest actor to come in and do a bit for the episode, and they're going to write him into these longer, you know, more involved parts, and he shows up, and for whatever reason, he's having a shitty week, you know, and you can tell it. Right. They can tell when they're not
firing,
you know, up to the cut. And then suddenly we're replacing this guy and we're bringing in a whole new guy.
Sure.
Yeah, it's like I've seen that happen. And there's sometimes like I'm thinking of a specific thing on Arrested Development. There was a guy that they brought in for that, you know, a small part, but it was going to be recurring. And he was a really cool guy and a really good actor, but for whatever reason, he just couldn't quite get the right vibe of the set and the other actors. And then that kind of compounded his nervousness. And so he was starting to forget his lines. And then that made it even worse. And I just remember feeling painful for him. And there's some people who show up and you're like, this person's out of their league and has no business being there.
Yeah.
Right.
And so it's like, you need to go back to the JV, like go back to the low budge, go back to the theater, go work for a few years and get back up to it. But when you see somebody who's like, you're like, oh, they're really good. They're great. I'm so excited they're coming. And then you're like, oh, bad day. Like just not there and missing it. And it sucks for everybody because you can tell when the other actors or the director or whoever is like, yeah, we really had higher hopes than this. And it's hard for that. But then there's a lot of the other bullshitty, like, whatever ego driven, you know, you can't look this person in the eyes or you get fired type, and you're like, they're not even that good. They're like a C-list actor and they're showing up with this ego, like you can't, sorry, your highness. Like,
oh my God. Right. So irritating, man. It's so annoying that people, I mean, for me anyway, like thinking about it from an acting perspective. It's like people would be that unprofessional.
You're lucky
man,
to get the work. Yeah.
To deep six a project just so you can like fuck with somebody. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you, man? It's so fucked up.
Ego
anyway,
masturbation. Yeah, right. Well, I mean, that's interesting. I think we started off on the like conversation of Moynihan coming in, like her performance in general, and then it was how she held her own. And I agree, she definitely held her own. So yeah, thank you for the physical correction. And
she did, yeah.
Show me need to slap a bitch.
I thought she was on point from the get go. I thought she was. Yeah, I didn't feel like there was like a, hitting the ground running and catching pace kind of a thing. Like, but maybe I need to watch it again.
Well, part of her role is that she's
earlier, by the way, because I was trying to get back there and I couldn't remember.
Yeah, part of her role is that she's self-conscious and is a failure, and so like it would make sense for some of her energy being brought to the role to be some of that energy, and it could be misinterpreted as she's actually not doing well in the role, but it's like that kind of is the point, like she is, but I didn't really self-conscious about her not being successful, and she's really excited about her bear commercial, which is fucking hilarious, like, so it
is funny. Yeah, that was funny.
I think I'm saying I need the physical correction because I'm confusing the role for the person, because it actually fits really well with the role.
I don't think you are. I don't know. I agree with Ben. I didn't get that impression from her, but I will say I didn't get the impression that she wasn't like gelling, as it were. But I did like the progression. The way that the story went was that the three legs, as you put it, that's a great way to put it. And I didn't really think about that whole aspect of it enough, but like it coalesces as you go further in the film. You know what I mean? So like
it's a three-person
beginning. In the beginning, though, Perry's kind of like just a dick, and Downey Jr.'s just like, what the fuck am I doing, dude? And Moynihan, also is, like, God, I'm kind of a fucking failure, whatever. And then as they go on these adventures, or this one adventure, like it coalesces into like a unified tripod.
Yeah.
By the third quarter of the movie, man, the third act of the movie, the third.
Well, that's his development,
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and then, the point where we touched earlier on like the unbelievableness of some of it. I can't remember the words that were used, but like the holes in the movie or whatever that could be glossed over because of the quality of the movie. For me, I took it as like the whole point of the writing was to mimic what was it called? Like fucking the Johnny Chimpo books or whatever the fuck.
Joe Gossamer.
There you go.
Johnny Gossamer.
Yeah. So like the Gossamer,
that's Afghanistan animation.
Exactly. So the Gossamer books were obviously pulpy and ridiculous. And so, it's pretty clear pretty early. Oh, I might be losing you guys again. Can you hear me okay?
No, we've got sunspots.
Yeah.
This is fucking phone. Hang on, let me swap real quick.
No, it's the sunspots, bro.
Well, you were saying earlier, I can't remember exactly what you said earlier, but it was something along the lines of like the movie kind of has its foibles. Oh, for fuck's sake.
It just, I just noticed that as you were saying it. Emma Walsh is the host.
I feel like I'm on the Umberto podcast where you like your computer crashed like 63 times, Kev. Didn't you tell me that?
Crazy.
Jeez, guys.
It was like the final. I think that was the last thing I did before I got this thing up.
I feel like you rage quit that laptop. It just like went out back like Office Space.
Well, the funny thing about it is that I was just like we like everybody we all got used to it.
Yeah.
At the end, and I was just kind of like, whatever, just plug it back in and keep going, like those guys were like, what the fuck?
Well, they're also balls deep in whiskey usually halfway through their show.
Bro, they fucking record it must be nice to record your fucking show at 3 p.m. You know what I mean? Like this fucker up here, he's out in fucking Idaho. It's like fucking 2:00, dude.
That's it.
Chad, 7 a.m. Me and Ben, it's like 10 o'clock.
Yeah, you're like, fuck, I'm tired.
Yeah, those guys are drunk. Exactly.
So just to hopefully not finish at midnight. We were talking earlier about like how the movie might have its foibles or have its holes, and for me, the thing I took from it was trying to be a pulpy Gossamer novel, you know, and even the narration just being like, hey,
Sure.
and then in the Gossamer books, it's, you know, two cases become one case, and so it's like it's so on the nose that it's forgivable, and I feel like yes, it's a three-legged stool, but it's also like really Harmony and Harry living their Gossamer book fantasy, and Perry is kind of
from childhood
a side piece, but he isn't in other ways too. Like he's the guy that actually knows the shit, and they're just the kids are like, no, let's go fucking jump in the mystery machine and solve this caper, you know.
Right.
And maybe that's why it works, is because it's not all three people buddy copping. It's like two kind of inexperienced knuckleheads that are just keeping on going even after Perry's like, now let's fucking leave it, guys. Don't get yourselves killed. And then you've got your Gossamer climax hanging off the dead arm, shooting shit, fucking, you know, scene, which is hilariously bad and so bad it's good and all of those things, you know.
It was kind of cool too.
It's pretty funny. Like it's ridiculous.
Cool. I feel like the big test of are you on board with this comes like pretty early on when Downey Jr.'s running from the cops and stumbles into the audition. This like late night audition. There's a bunch of actors hanging around the stairs in the dark outside of this room, and he bursts in.
Fucking Skid Row.
I'm like, listen,
totally accurate too.
If you get invited to an audition late at night and it's not in Harvey Weinstein's hotel room, it's probably not real. Like there's no real auditions that happen at that hour that aren't in some producer's hotel room. Like, I got a part for you. You're going to get a part. All right.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know, so it's like, if you can believe he's on the run from the cops and he stumbles into a legitimate audition where they're like, hey, this guy's got something. He's good. Let's send him on to Hollywood. Call Gay Perry. Get Gay Perry on the phone right now. Then like, if you can buy that and just like, okay, this is the ride I'm on, then it's all good. And it is that like kind of on the nose of like, hey, we're going to go do the cliche thing. Come watch it. It's going to be good.
Yeah.
Dude, you sounded like Joe Montana in Three Amigos when you just did that. Get Gay Perry on the phone. The Amigos are out of the mansion.
Would you say I had a plethora of Gay Perrys?
I think the best bit about that audition stuff is when Perry later on is just like, yeah, nah, man, we're just trying to get a few mil off Colin Farrell. Like, it's like, oh, it's so deflating.
It is
so deflating.
So deflating.
He thinks he's going to be a star.
So many children head out to the Hollywood with big dreams like that, only to find out you're just trying to get a few mil off Colin Farrell.
It's funny. Like, that's a real thing. And like, that's been referenced in numerous different like movies or shows, man. They did it in, I can't even remember, some talk show or something. And it was, the whole thing was just trying to get like, you know, Letterman to like go down in his price, you know, like it's like
the fucking games they play.
So, if you watch a show annoying. Like The Producers, you know, where it's like, hey, we've got 30 people that all think they're getting 10% of this movie and that math doesn't add up.
Yeah,
so we're going to make the shittiest movie we can to tank it and then reap the money on the completion bond, insurance payoff. Like that's not a made up story. Like there's a lot of that kind of shit that goes on where it's like, this movie's just, it's straight to video, meaning we're going to do something to fuck it up and tank it intentionally to
production side of that.
Money.
Yeah.
There's a lot
the other side of the coin of what you were saying earlier about torpedoing a performance. It's like the fucking games we play. Why don't we just make movies instead of fucking torpedoing the thing?
Yeah.
What was it? The Batgirl one that they didn't even release recently? Was it Batgirl or something like that? Yeah,
no,
it's crazy.
Batwoman. Right? Because it was a show for 3. Because I don't know how that came into my frame the other night, and I looked it up because I was like, oh yeah, there's that show that they never made that movie, or they made the entire movie and then they just
sitting on a shelf somewhere,
locked it in a vault or something. Man, I don't know what the fucking deal was with that.
what I was reading or hearing was that the acting performances were so bad that they were just, we can't release this. Like it wouldn't come
Really?
together. And the Batwoman, I can't remember the name of the actress, but yeah, it was so bad that they were just like, we can't put this out.
Hey man, they released
like
Cats.
it's
So
not worth the money to even finish it because
Right.
like it's going to cost more money
Cats.
to finish
Yeah,
it.
but that's Cats. I mean,
Cats
Yeah,
was
that's
a
Cats.
piece of shit.
It's better than Cats, better than E.T. I'm going to see it again and again.
Oh my God. I totally remember that. I don't know. Was that local to New York or was I wonder
I think
if
that was a
these guys
Saturday
saw
Night
that too?
Live. But those commercials, yeah, that's right. Those were, yeah, all that. It's right. Yeah, all those going to see the new Broadway show, and they got those like man on the street interviews for the commercial.
Kev, how stoked were you when you found out that Harmony's horrible father was Ryan, elderly Ryan from Shaving Ryan's Privates? Were you
Oh my God,
super
dude.
excited? I was so excited.
I was totally excited because we just did it last week.
Yeah, it
dude.
was
I was
like
like, what? I
6
was like,
degrees
this
of
guy
Kevin
did
Bacon, that motherfucker, into
right.
the movie.
and then as I was like, because I finished the movie today actually, and then when I was looking it up on IMDb, first thing I did was I went to him in the cast.
Yeah, you're like,
and I was like, okay,
I know that man.
I was like,
good
this
man.
this guy did exactly 5 movies, and we
Yeah.
just did two
That's
weeks
it.
in a row.
That's
What are
it.
the odds of that? Weird,
It was fucking hilarious.
dude. Somebody do something dumb and die. We need more deaths.
Oh, okay. We breezed past it earlier, but like, dude, Gay Perry makes this fucking movie. I cannot get over
I
how
was going to
fucking good
suggest,
he is,
yeah,
dude.
let's talk about Val Kilmer and Gay Perry since this is our Val Kilmer requiem.
I love
dude.
Val and all,
yeah,
but
right.
my
It's
God, this
time for the third leg.
yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
Time for third leg.
I think for me, like the moment where I was like, oh hell yes, is when they're like walking down the stairs and Harry and Perry are talking, and Perry like mishears it and then just keeps going with it and is just making shit up, you know? It's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
The quotes
The
in there are
dialogue
just
is
too fucking good, man.
the dialogue is razor sharp in this movie, man. And
He's like, I'm talking money. He's like, a talking monkey?
Talking monkeys, yeah,
Like,
talking
yes.
monkey.
Yeah.
And all he
Talking
says
monkey.
is whatever.
Ficus.
Like, yes,
There's
it's
some
so
gay-
good.
there's some gay joke that he makes, Downey Jr. makes, that is so funny. It's like I feel like it's about halfway through, and I can't remember for the life of me what the hell it is. It was great though.
There's quite a few of those.
Yes.
It doesn't get much sharper from a dialogue point of view. Like it felt very Coen Brothers-esque, or yeah, it was razor sharp.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
go ahead, Ben.
No, you go ahead.
I really didn't have anything.
I was about to
Blithering.
slightly change the subject. So,
Yeah, go for it, man.
well, no, I don't remember exactly what I was going to get at.
Wow.
So-
We are awesome. No, you go. Well, I didn't really have anything. So you go ahead. Well, I forgot. So
Change the subject to something, but I don't remember
So
what that
good.
was.
Kev, was the
That
one that you
is
had, was it referring to Gay Perry? Is he still gay? No, I'm knee deep in pussy. I just like the name so much I can't get rid of it. It's just like,
no,
my
it's not
favorites.
it. That's a
Just like
good
the
one
name.
though.
it's so good.
There's a lot of it. I was just talking about like, I love how Gay Perry is always correcting Robert Downey Jr. on like, you know, so like Robert Downey Jr. does the like bad, you know, if it was badly, then, you know, blah, 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 or you know, whatever he goes through on the first thing. And then he's like, no, it's a fucking adverb, you idiot. Like, where did you learn grammar? Like,
Yeah.
he's like, where did you learn grammar? Where did you learn math? Like,
Yeah. It's good.
Yeah, well, that's the
really
Scott
strong.
Pilgrim bit. Like he tries to use what's her name talking about badly as an adverb or whatever. He's like, excuse me. He's like, sleep bad, otherwise it makes it seem like the mechanism. He's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Shut the fuck
yeah,
up.
what the fuck are you talking about?
That was great. Oh, you mean when he repeated what she said?
yeah, he
and
tries to
Perry
steal
just
it.
like
Sounds smart.
Akito'd it back on him. Totally. That was fucking great.
Yeah. He's
so
like always
good.
calling him out for shit like that. It's just, yeah.
And then there's, like the classics too, like I think without Downey Jr. and Val Kilmer, the one where he throws the gun in the lake and he's like, if you look in the dictionary for idiot, what do you find? He's like, a picture of me. He's like, no, the definition of idiot. Like that wouldn't work most of the time. But it just fucking works so well.
That was
it's a terrible joke, but they just pull it off so fucking well.
It's the interaction and the delivery. And,
yeah,
exactly. Like he's always got one up on Robert Downey Jr.'s character, and
he's always got one in the chamber loaded, ready to go.
Yeah, exactly. And even in a case where like that isn't the best joke, it works perfectly to put him in his place.
And he has this kind of like, I feel like he has this kind of way of like ramming it through no matter what. Like, and it makes it land. Like, I don't know if that makes any sense. But
it does.
That's sort of the feeling I get.
It kind of plays with the idea that like Downey Jr.'s character is the guy that is the quippy. He's the Robin Williams. Like he's the turbo quippy guy. And to have him get one upped constantly goes against the expectation.
Yeah.
And just goes to show how much of a fuckhead he actually is. Yeah, exactly.
There's always a bigger fish.
Right.
Yeah.
I really think I don't know. I don't think I've seen every single thing Val Kilmer's done, but this is up there with this is really good. This is really, really, really good.
It's really fucking solid.
I mean, I haven't seen The Salton Sea and some of the other, he's done some really intense movies, man, that I haven't seen. So I can't really comment if this is the best thing he's ever done, but I'm sure this is up there because it's fantastic, man.
Yeah.
And it's great because it kind of it utilizes his excellent comedic ability and timing, which he got away from, he's talked about it in interviews that, when he did Top Secret and Real Genius, he kept getting all these comedies after that, and he was worried about not being taken seriously as an actor. So he turned them all down to the point where nobody sent them to him anymore, for years and years and years. So, it's it's cool to see him be able to utilize that to great effect in this film. And it's not just the comedy too. It's, there's a lot of facets to the character that are just great. It's just a really, really great part, and he plays it beautifully, man. And when I saw that other people had either been cast or offered the part, I was like, I don't know, man. I don't think any of those people could have done it.
Like his character in Heat, for example, one could make an argument that it's one of the best, but this is just, I don't know. I just like this one so much more. I
do too.
I think that you can't beat Doc Holliday, but this is second place, and probably Heat is third place for me. I'm with you on the comedy bit. He's just so funny, and his, Real Genius is really up there too, Probably
that's probably before. I'll say it again, is any role that features comedic bits, he does really well.
Really well, right?
Well, it's easy to forget about those older comedy roles when you see some of the really intense, dramatic stuff that he does, and you forget. And then there's the fact that he comes into this, early 2000s role. He's playing a gay guy. It would be really easy to make it a caricature, just a two-dimensional. I'm going to do the gay guy.
No, he doesn't at all.
But he does just enough to make it, hold an extra S a little longer than normal type, but subtle. But he brings back that comic timing and the talent that he had early on into.
And
that's why you go with the Last Boy Scout type of a thing where you get this weird blend of serious and comedic. And it's hard to kind of straddle those lines really well. And that's one of the things that he does so well. So it makes this character so iconic or so memorable or so great for him, because there's a lot of those things wrapped into one where, he can have a serious moment or be taken seriously in a comedic moment, but still bring in the good lines or the laughs or know the timing. And it's such a nuanced performance. It really is. And it's really overlooked because of a bigger movie vibe.
Sure. But he also does a good job of making you connect with the character, as we've been talking. That's come up almost every single show for the last 3 months, but it's so true. And they all do a great job of it, and he does an excellent job of it. Because Perry is kind of the person that you wouldn't connect with. You know what I mean? Like he's so sort of, I would say, naturally antagonistic because he's gay, probably.
Because he fucking throws him under the bus.
I mean?
He throws Harry
too.
under the bus, telling Harmony, that he lied about being a detective. Like Perry's like, I'm not your friend, man. So like you actively don't want to like him, but you do,
And he's completely honest about that. He's like,
and he's just like, we're not friends, dude. I'm paid to fucking teach you, bro. Like whatever.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really good subtle performance.
Really,
and it's interesting that like everything about the fact that he's gay is really in the hands of everybody else. It's like everybody else in the movie is sort of making a big deal, if you could say that, about the fact that he's gay.
Sure.
And he's just sort of like used to it and just plays it off with like satire, the entire time.
Sure.
It's a great choice on Val's part to just like it's a subtle. It's not a like stereotypical, gay performance. Like
no, it's not the Birdcage or something. Yeah,
it's just subtle, but it's not like and like there's nothing about it that's like despite the time frame of the movie, there's nothing about it that's like, in my opinion, that's like cringeworthy or like. Or feels weird or bad or anything, like it's like this. Every little quip or joke about it is like there's no teeth to it, like there's no homophobia in it, what I mean? Yeah. It's just fact of business and funny. So
sure,
yeah, I appreciate all those angles there. Like it's well done.
And when there is homophobia, it's when he gets that rise out of the Aurelio guy, and shoots him with a little gun in his pants, Like I love that it kind of culminates in him just goading that dude. It's really funny, man.
Yes. Yeah, totally.
And I guess, Shane Black was saying he just was like, he wanted to make his character Gay Perry because there really hadn't been a lead that was gay in this particular actiony sense, and like just like you said, it's like it's irrelevant, but it is just this really interesting, funny layer. And it's not, kind of it's hard to believe that it's 2005 and that hadn't happened yet, but here we are.
It's not like where the woke stuff goes wrong, where like the character shows up and like the only thing that matters is their queer identity or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like you're just like, ugh, God, like like nobody nobody queer wants to be represented that way, right? Like people are people, so
right?
Like, it's just like a sort of matter of fact thing about their identity, and that's fine. And other than that, they're funny or they're an asshole or whatever the fucking case is, like. And sure. And this is like a sort of, I feel like a great early example of that being, the case.
Yeah, I'm totally on that motorcycle.
True story.
Like he's gay. Everybody else makes a big deal about the fact that he's gay. He doesn't really care. He's kind of an asshole. He's pretty good at what he does. Like he's smart. He's fast. He's quippy. Like that's the shit that really matters. So
yeah,
it's a home run. It's a home run for sure. What are you reading about, Kev?
Val Kilmer.
Shopping.
Dude, he does the voice of the
nice
Borg in
Trainspotting
Robot
reference.
Chicken.
He does what now?
He does the voice of the Borg in Robot Chicken.
There you go.
That's fantastic.
That's a death, by the way.
It's not like a
head
death.
straight
It's
into
like
the guillotine.
I'm like there was an 8% chance of a death there.
I'm like in hell.
Well played. Do you even know math?
Who taught you math?
That was pretty funny scene too, man. That's very Pulp Fiction with the dude in the back of the car kind of thing. Spins the chamber and just fucking blows his head off. So fucking.
That was funny, man. That was funny.
Are we officially into bits and bobs here?
I think we probably are. Yeah.
Are you? Did anybody see that MacGruber movie Are you guys fans of that?
MacGruber.
I don't think
I'm a
so.
huge fan of Will Forte. I have not seen that movie though.
Because Val Kilmer is in it. That's why I asked.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, really?
Did not know that.
Yeah. No, I was just looking at like all of his like most popular stuff kind of pops up, you know, and like I was just I took a deeper dive into like his list on IMDb because I just wanted to see what else, you know, what else was there that I hadn't seen. There's a lot of stuff in there. He just did. He's just so cool. He just did all kinds of stuff.
Dieter von Kuntz.
Ooh, good name.
Yeah, I saw that. Deja Vu. And there's all kinds of like little independent films, and then there's some straight to video shit he did, and little early little. This is more of a Nuggety Bob,
Hey.
as it were. Did you guys know? You know they rebooted the Knight Rider series a couple years back, right?
I did not know that.
Yes, I am aware.
I know Ben's aware. I don't know if you guys were aware. So they had a they had a Mustang that could transform and all this bullshit, right? But the uncredited voice of Kit was Val Kilmer.
Hey, did you see that the uncredited voice of the bear in this was Lawrence Fishburne?
Yeah.
What? No, I did not see that.
Seriously. I went back and listened. I was like, yeah, I can hear
What
it.
do I know? I'm just a bear.
Yeah, dude, it was Larry Fish, dude.
It's funny.
Pulling back the Pee Wee's Playhouse vibe.
Yeah, exactly.
Cowboy Keith or whatever he was.
What about some since we're bits and bobs? How about what insights? What behind the scenes insights do you have
Did you
from
shoot
the production?
all of it? Like,
Nuggety
how does
Bob?
it get split up?
Sorry,
Do you do some of it and the sound and the different sound teams? You did some of the shots, but not all the shots. Like, what's the story?
Ooh, well, that's a good question because this was back in the days before I was in the union, and to be on a union show, you have to be in the union, and to get in the union, you have to work so many days on a union show. So there's a weird catch-22 of like the guys I worked for wanted to get me in the union, but this was one of those quasi like it's low budget, but it's union, so we want to bring you on, but we can't bring you on full time. And there was another guy who had priority over me in the pecking order, who he was one of the guys that kind of helped train me into knowing what I was doing as a boom operator. And so from working on it, one of the first things I remember was like 6 weeks of night shooting in Long Beach and driving home in traffic, in AM traffic, but you're going home, and just some brutal conditions. But I
and that was the origin story of falling down. That was where it came from.
Yeah. So they would bring me on when they could in certain conditions, and it was usually like, oh yeah, the guy doesn't want to work all night in Long Beach for the next week. Do you want to come and suffer for that? And me, of course, is like, oh, I'm getting to work on the big shows. I'm down for anything.
Totally.
But one of the best parts was they ended up doing some reshoots down the road later, and I don't remember all the timing, but I remember it was like a month or two after Jamie Foxx won the Oscar for
Ray.
His Ray. Yeah. And there's a scene in the movie, I think it's at the end, it's kind of like that Ferris Bueller, like, what are you doing? The movie's over. Where they're talking to the camera. And so we were up in the hills in this big mansion. And so it was really cool just being around there. We're like, oh, the views are great. So even if we're not shooting right now, you just sit and look outside. But I had to go in and I put a microphone in the room for one of the lines or something. And I go in there and I don't know what else was going on. They're waiting for lighting, it was just a big long delay. So I go in and it's Robert Downey Jr. and Val Kilmer, and they're just sitting there talking. Usually if there's a lighting setup, they're using stand-ins. So you've got, just two random people.
Randos.
But for whatever reason, it was Val Kilmer and Robert Downey Jr. and they're in there for like an hour, just chilling, hanging out. And I go in and I set my microphone up and I do my thing. And again, I'm like early in my career, and there's this whole thing of you got to be careful talking to actors. Some can be really cool, chit-chatting you up. Some of them are they're focused in on like, I'm going to, go over my lines and remember my thing and remember my character, and they're in their own headspace. And so you don't want to go up and start chit-chat like, hey, how you doing? You see the game?
Hey, get an autograph.
And you definitely don't want to be like, oh, I loved you in Less Than Zero. That was my favorite movie. You know,
It's like, all right, mate.
That's a short career you have if you're gonna fanboy out. But I go in there and I'm doing my thing, and so like working around for like 10 minutes, and they're both chit chatting. And if you go back and you watch the movie with the commentary on it, you'll get kind of the context of these two guys have their own vibey thing that they do with each other. And I wasn't on, when I was working on set during the main production, I wasn't doing a lot of interaction with actors and around that. I was like, go running cable, something to get set up for the acting, but then I'd be back off set, behind the mixing board or whatever while they were shooting stuff. So, but I did have a lot of weird interaction with Robert Downey in the years prior to that because of what I was talking about. Like they'd bring him out to Park City and work on these independent, low budget movies. And that's when I was doing lighting and electricians type stuff. So we would see each other, but we didn't interact with each other a lot. And so it was this weird, like he's going through all this like drug phase. And I'm thinking like, I could just be a hallucination to him of like, this is weirdly like, this guy keeps coming into the room and he seems familiar. Like I've seen him around on these other things, but we don't talk and we don't have so he gives me these kind of weird looks of like, I know you, but I don't know you. And who are you? Why are you here? But Val Kilmer was talking this whole time that I was working about the movie Ray and how he was like, he just won the Oscar for Ray and he didn't even sing his own songs. I sang my own songs as Jim Morrison. They didn't give me an Oscar for that, and for a while I was trying to suss out, like, is he like being a bitchy, complainy prima donna type thing? Or, and then Robert Downey Jr. is over there giving him the kind of thing that he does where almost like in Bowfinger, if you see him playing that producer, where he's just kind of like egging somebody on, like, oh yeah, really? Cool. That's fascinating. Yeah. Well, tell me more. So he was kind of like this thing. And I was like, is he fucking with Val Kilmer? And is Val Kilmer being a whiny bitch? Or do they have this kind of thing going on between themselves that they're just doing a bit for each other's own fun? And so it was really cool to be around that. And then at a certain point I was about to leave and my boss is on in my earphones, like, okay, it sounds good. Like that's a good position and we're good to go. Like you can go ahead and leave. Coming out. And I was like, okay, this is once in a lifetime kind of opportunity. I got to say something. And so like, he was just to the point where he was kind of bitching about like, yeah, and he didn't even sing his own songs. How does that guy get an Oscar for that? And I was like, okay, I'm sorry, man. I got to jump. I'm sorry to interrupt. I just got to tell you, like, that was so amazing. I was such a Jim Morrison nerd back in high school or middle school or whenever that movie came out. And it was so spot on and it was so great. And, I kind of laid on some like, yeah, as a movie fan or as a music fan, like it was such a good, like one of my favorite biopics. And I was kind of going off a little bit. And then all of a sudden I literally did this like Scooby-Doo, wait, hold on. And I look at Robert Downey Jr. and I was like, well, and you're Chaplin. Like, oh my gosh, that was so fantastic. Like one of my favorite, like, so I got to have this little moment of geeking out. And then it was like I lit a fire. And
then you got shot in the back.
Yeah, you did the thing you're not allowed
to do. And
I woke up, I was late for work.
Right. Was that before or after you mentioned the doorknobs?
Yeah, it was like, you might not know this, but I happen to have been involved in a doors cover.
My good friend, who you don't know.
Yeah, let me tell you.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I stayed away from that stuff, but for me, it was like I had a couple of moments in my career where I got to have these really interesting interactions of just hanging out, talking with people who are known for doing really good work, really high level, top of their game type people. So for me, like even all the things like years after that and all this kind of successes or good shows I got to work on, that was one of those moments where I was like, I got to just hang out with these two guys and then catalyze and let them kind of go off on each other and talk about acting. And for me, so there was always this kind of educational thing, like,
right.
As a film student, as somebody who wanted to be writing and directing movies, I always use these as educational, listen to good actors talking about what makes good acting, what makes the scene good, what makes the writing good, why they love this type of a movie or this type of project. And, getting to hear them from their own perspective, and sometimes actors get really full of themselves and
Really? That's weird. I would never have thought that.
No, yeah, it's spoiler alert. You know,
Yeah, right.
but so it's for me, it was really great to see people that I liked their acting, and they're talking about it in a way where it's like you're listening to a great carpenter talk about what it, he looks for certain wood grains and how that helps him to figure out what kind of table or what kind of a project he's going to make and the tools he uses in the process. So it's more about
we have one of those too.
Plumber shows up and he's like, yeah, I got my tools, I got my bags, I get to work, I do my thing. They're not making something more of it than what it is, but it's
right.
So it's cool to see A-level people at the top of their game talking about the mechanics of what they're doing without it being super pretentious.
Yeah, and it's fly on the wall shit too. Like everyone's like, I wish I could be a fly on the wall. It's like you did. That's cool.
Yeah, I got to be that for that moment and really
that's cool.
Very cool.
Soak it up and get to appreciate. Like that's one of the things. Living in a small town in Connecticut in high school, where a lot of people wanted to get out of there into the real world.
Hey, I know about
we're right
that.
close to New York City. So for me, I'm like, hey, I could appreciate it for what it was at the moment. It was like, I can jump on the train and be in New York in an hour and a half, but I get to go home to this woodsy Norman Rockwell existence.
Yeah.
So for me,
yeah,
in the movies, I had a lot of those experiences where it was like, okay, I can just sit here and soak in this moment in my life that so few people ever get to be a part of and really appreciate it for what it is while I'm there, rather than like 10 years later, like, oh man, I had this thing and I didn't even think anything of it.
Yeah, you didn't think
what I was doing. I was just plugging in the connections and getting out of there. It's like, no, man, I just really got to be like, oh yeah,
appreciate it. I thought you were going to
like my dream job.
That's it. I thought you were going to quip to Downey Jr. that he sings the outro song. Like I didn't realize that he actually sang the fucking song at the end of the credits. It was like,
isn't that crazy?
It's an interesting track. Like he really gave it his all.
Robert Downey Jr. is actually a pretty good vocalist, and he does a really uncanny Sting impression.
Really?
What?
Hell yeah.
Yeah. You've never seen it. Like he's like sang with Sting and they sound exactly the same. It's crazy.
I like that.
What? That is so random, dude. I love it.
Bizarre. I've heard him sing in the song that I heard. I was like, it's a good thing you're a good actor. So I'm glad to hear he did some other stuff that was like better to listen to, because the one thing I heard was like, ooh.
Well, I ended up just like turning the
good effort. Yeah,
video off.
Yeah.
I turned the video off and then I saw the nugget that I was like, oh, I'm gonna fire it back up and listen to it. I was like, oh, he gave it everything. It's great.
That's wild. Cool. That is really cool.
Yeah.
Some lovely insights.
Yeah, no doubt.
Inside the behind the true music Hollywood stories.
There you go. This week on VH1 Storytellers.
We were talking about, I think Nuggety Bob, you were talking about Last Boy Scout and how it kind of had some more serious shit going on. And that would have been like Bruno and his wife and all of the fucking shit that was problematic. And in this one, is way more light, but the pink-haired girl scene where she gets shot in the bed, I thought that was a really interesting kind of a gut punchy moment. And I didn't recognize her. She was in Knight's Tale as like the main lady.
That's I looked her up. Yeah, Shannon Sossaman. She's in a bunch of oh boy,
huge crush.
I mean, she's beautiful.
Easy there, Tiger. She's she did a bunch of like high profile work, like A Knight's Tale. I feel like she was in didn't she do like 40 Days?
40 Days, 40 Nights.
Yeah, the abstinence movie. The movie about abstinence.
Her getting shot there, like it's cliche or whatever, or tropey, but I don't know. There's just something about that, like she gets shot and she's on the ground dying and he's just trying to keep her quiet, but also like watching someone die. Like it was a well done moment. And it is a little bit of that like heavy. It was a bit heavy,
It was.
Because it's really a light movie at the end of the day, like it's really just silly and funny, mostly, which is fine.
Yeah, and it's tough to inject those heavy scenes without making light of it and making it just some kind of a goofy comic moment that would be a pure comedy. But yeah, you have those moments thrown in there where it's like, oh, wait, it really actually kind of gets you.
Yeah. And then it's like immediately followed by the dog eating the finger. You know, it's like it wasn't like it's not like the rest of the stuff wasn't kind of silly, but yeah, it really, yeah, they nailed that one.
They did. It was good.
Other bits and bobs.
Okay, here's a bit and Bob. Hang on one sec.
Mm-hmm.
God, the wit in this movie is just
Enhance.
razor sharp, dude. Oh, I figured out what that quote was, Chad.
Yeah.
So it's Perry goes, "Merry Christmas. Sorry I fucked you over." And Harry goes, "No problem. Don't quit your gay job."
Oh yeah. That was a good one, dude. Yeah, I like that.
That was
one.
wicked good, man.
Noise.
Really, really good. And I thought of this one for you too. I remember this when Harry goes, "Don't worry, I saw Lord of the Rings. I'm not going to end this 17 times."
Yeah, dude. And that's just really on the money too, considering the year it came out. So clearly that was the zeitgeist of the moment.
I love the Lord of the Cock Rings.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thing. Like,
That's good too.
So later picked up by Jack Black for
Yep.
God, that was funny as
for
fuck.
MTV. But
Yes.
yeah. Lord of the Cock Rings.
There was a quote from Shane Black because we were talking earlier. I think Kev, you might have been the one that said it. Something along the lines of like, you know, it's a great movie and it hit all of the things and it did all the things that it should have done and it was loved and this and that and the other and it failed at the box office. I think like, you know, the missing piece here is like it would have been nice if it made a little bit of coin. And I guess there's a quote from Shane Black where Downey Jr. was saying that he spoke to people like Daryl Hannah who loved every shot, and Shane Black's just like, yeah, well, maybe she could buy 2 million fucking tickets. It's just like,
Yeah,
okay, like it's a great movie, but man, it's just this. It's a bummer it didn't make some coin. It didn't have to be a blockbuster, but fuck.
But it's funny because even saying that, like, it made most of its money overseas. Like the overseas take on this movie was actually like 3/4 of the.
Well, it was only in a handful of theaters
total.
over here, I guess. So they kind of crippled it from the fucking get-go.
Yeah, it
speaking
wasn't
of
widely
stupid games being played.
Yeah, but they do that sometimes. Like there'll be a movie that like you've never even really heard of. You know what I mean? But that movie was released in every other market in the world. Like it's so weird the way that shit works. Like when I worked on Grey Lady, I learned, like, John told me a lot about that stuff, and I was just like blown away. I was like, wow, that's so bizarre. Like he said even before we got into it, he was like, he's like, these types of movies, you know, they play great in other countries. He goes, he goes, whatever this does or doesn't do here, he goes, you know, it's about, it'll go all over the world. You know what I mean? And it could do fantastically in those other markets, man. And I was like,
Well, this
wow,
one's like kind of
whatever.
Americana in a way. I could see it doing well because of how it's like, it's fun, but it's also like a bit of Americana, you know, the pulpy, detective-y noir shit.
Well, and I think a big
Sure.
component to that too is these type of movies, for whatever reason, the studio marketing departments struggle with this kind of a movie. So, and like we'll talk about John Carter of Mars when we were talking about that one too. There's certain, if it's not just the most absolute formulaic, you know, paint by numbers type of, oh, here's the rom-com when a guy suddenly finds himself in a world. Like, they don't know how to just do this paint by numbers type of ad campaign for it.
Right.
It's almost like they abandon it or give it up. Like,
too hard.
and even this was a smaller budget movie as far as a studio type thing goes, but they just struggle with being able to really get to the heart of it for whatever reason and market it in a way where people will go, oh, hey, I want to go. Yeah, that's the one I want to go check out. It's not this like blockbuster push for advertising, and they struggle with being able to get the right audience there to appreciate it. And so that audience comes later, word of mouth or video, or yeah, this did really great in foreign markets. And so there's some level of life to it that people can actually find it later, which is good. But yeah, it's really disappointing when you have such a good, you know, like from the script, you're like, oh, this is going to be a good movie if they shoot it right. And then you get the good actors and you see what's going on set. And then they totally drop the ball when it comes to actually getting people to see it. And then they use that as further excuse to not make more movies
do
like
it.
that. Like,
Yeah.
oh, it doesn't do that well. It's like, well, maybe if you knew how to actually get people out to see it. And it isn't, it's not the most broad movie that's going to appeal to all of your Jim Carrey.
But it was
Dumb and
fun.
Dumber type fans,
Like,
but-
you could date movie the shit out of this with the right date.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's fun.
It's a good romp, if you will.
Sure, absolutely. Date movie it.
But they don't know how to sell it that well. So
That's a shame.
it's kind of a
That's
drag that
yeah,
way.
dude. That's the thing, man.
They had Johnny Knoxville down for Harry, which is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my fucking life.
oh wow.
I cannot believe that, man. I was like, why?
I don't know.
No.
I could see how that could be plausible though. I mean,
Well, the Arnie one
definitely-
with him, sure, but
I don't
We did
have
that one
anything against
recently.
Knoxville, and I think he's a little bit of an unexpected sort of like
He's better than
when
you
he
think.
was at exactly when he was in Dukes of Hazzard, because I was a massive Dukes of Hazzard fan when I was a kid. I was like, I don't know about that, dude. And then I saw the movie and I was like, he's perfect. He was perfect.
I think he could have done adequately, but I don't think he would have been close to Robert Downey Jr.
Nah.
That
Downey
I
Jr.
totally
is so
agree
good.
with.
Yeah, if he'd have been in it instead of, you'd have been like, yeah, he's actually surprisingly good.
Sure. Yeah, in a
Yeah,
different universe.
I mean, I love Johnny Knoxville. I don't think he would have been awful, but it would have been a
And I'm
different
not any
movie
kind
for
of fan
sure.
of his either.
And then Johnny Knoxville would have been Tony Stark.
Yeah, that would have been a whole different.
Right.
Johnny Knoxville as Tony Stark. You guys probably saw this in the giant list of bullshit on IMDb, but I never knew that James Bond was known as Kiss Kiss Bang Bang in international Italian markets, and that's the reference, which I think is
Yes.
really interesting.
I never knew that.
I never knew that.
Yeah, it's cool.
And there's a Shirley Bassey song actually that didn't make it onto Thunderball from it, and I was listening to that while reading the Nugs. So, Mr. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is what they call him in Italy, which is hilarious.
I got a kick out of there was either the commentary from the version you sent me to watch or something that I was reading that talked about this being a pivotal movie and getting like Favreau loved it, and so that he kind of pushed for the Iron Man thing. And it was like maybe 5 minutes later as I'm watching the movie where Michelle's character comes in and finds the guy in his like bad RoboCop.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah, like
Thing all
RoboCop
dressed up
shit.
and drunk and like falling backwards, and I was like, "Oh, that's the Iron Man thing from the movie where he's like having
Yeah,
a party
totally.
with DJ."
That was a funny scene, actually.
And then I can't remember which Iron Man, but Black actually
Three.
directed one of those. Yeah,
Three.
so
Three.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was that one or not.
Three.
Was that the Mickey Rourke one?
It was a nice little rhyme to it, I think.
No, that
Three.
was the.
How many more times do you want Ben and I to say three? It was,
Was it
three.
three?
Yeah.
It was three.
It was 3, and it was actually Robert Downey Jr. that advocated for him to do it.
Yeah, that.
Correct.
So,
because
so
one
it's sort of like-
good turn
it was-
deserves another.
Well, it was some
You wash
some
my
payback
back, I'll wash
because
Yeah.
this movie kind of brought his career back around.
Yeah.
Shit, yeah.
Big time.
Even though it wasn't like a giant success, it sort of was like his green light for Hollywood to start hiring him again.
Totally.
No, it was the
Right.
Kingsley
All right,
one.
we can trust you again.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
as a thank you for Shane Black taking a chance on him, he advocated for him to do Iron Man 3.
That's right.
There's a Lethal Weapon 5 in development. Holy shit.
What?
Oh, no.
Oh wait, but I think Mel Gibson is
Now more
directing it.
lethal and more weapon.
Yeah, Shane Black's down as a
No,
writer for
no.
it. So
No, he's really involved because I can't remember.
Fucking twat.
He was on Rogan and I listened to the episode and I think he was talking about that, and they were talking about how there was some special circumstance where he came in to like do the movie or help finish the movie, or he's somehow involved because I feel like somebody passed away that was like the big sort of Lethal Weapon person or something like that. That was stupidest thing I've ever said, I think, on this show.
I don't know. You said some pretty dumb shit.
I have, but that's actually going to be up there in
Don't
my
sell
personal
yourself
top
short,
10.
Judge. You're a tremendous slouch.
Let's see. Stupidest thing. I'm just killing myself here. This is a suicide.
Did we talk about this as his directorial debut? I think we did, but I didn't realize this was Shane Black's directorial debut.
You didn't mention it, but yeah,
No.
well done.
I had always associated him with the Predators of the world and didn't realize that he didn't direct any of those old school movies, like any of the Lethal Weapons, for example. I had assumed he would have done one.
How many of the Lethal Weapons did he direct? I thought it was just the first one. Oh, but he wrote the first one.
Yeah, he wrote them. Yeah.
No, not the Lethal Weapon. Didn't he write?
He wrote Lethal Weapon, Last Action Hero.
Oh, for some reason I got okay. Here's a death. I got it confused with Die Hard.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
In my mind, I was thinking he wrote the first Die Hard, not the first Lethal Weapon.
Yeah, that's a death. I'll give it to you. Shane Black wrote what? Die Hard. All right.
No, I was seeing like the images of him known for Predator. I thought he either helped write or direct Predator, but like that's a clear death for me. Who's Hawkins in Predator?
He was an actor in it, and then he went on to direct one of the Predator movies.
Predator with Olivia
many
Munn
years
in it, which I can't imagine was any good.
The one that had Keegan Michael Key in it, or whatever. Keegan Michael Key in it, or whatever.
Michael doing his Kegels. What?
Michael Kegel.
Michael Kegel exercises.
Doing his Kegel exercises.
Michael Kegel.
What was your death, Chad?
That you're dumb? This guy wrote Predator. I was killed by Predator. I was killed by Predator doing Kegels with his vagina face.
Shane Black wrote. This is really good stuff.
Wasn't it?
These are good deaths.
Wasn't
Shane
it Predator
Black
2 or he calls him
original
pussy
Predator.
face or something like that?
No. He talks about his girlfriend having a big pussy. That's the joke in Predator.
Yeah. That's
No, I swear Predator was
true.
called pussy face at some stage. No, I remember that one. Yeah.
What? Oh, maybe. I don't know, man.
It was probably Gary Busey, motherfucker.
No, he wasn't involved in the first one, buddy.
No, the second one.
Sure.
This is off the fucking rails.
This is off the rails, bro. We are off the rails
off
tonight,
the fucking
folks. We're getting
rails.
crazy.
Never go full Busey.
Right?
You know what this show is?
Never go full retard.
Dude, I was listening to a fucking show the other day and a podcast.
Charming as hell.
It was
not retarded.
There was this guy and he was like an economics like expert and he was talking politics and it was like really in depth and he was talking about, the tariff stuff or whatever. And it was a serious like New York Timesy podcast. And at one stage he literally was like, and then they did the thing. And the guy on this fucking New York Times podcast just goes, never go full retard. And I was like, yes, it was like, I've never,
Wow.
and it was, the host didn't even talk about it. So I like completely breezed by. And I can just imagine how many people listened to that were like, wait, what did he just say? And I just was so excited about it.
You just used the hard R.
Thunder quote in the
It
middle.
was so
of
good.
Yeah,
It was so good. I was
fascinating.
so excited about it.
It would only be better if he had said, "Damn, it smells just like bologna for some reason."
Exactly. We got to do that one, man. I mean, speaking of Downey fucking Jr.
Oh gosh,
Yeah,
that
sure.
movie.
We can
Yeah,
do
you
that.
guys need to do that.
We'll get it on the list.
I'm trying to put some Tiger Balm on this jungle's nuts.
I didn't realize that he directed The Nice Guys with Gosling
Yeah.
and Russell Tubby for Free, Russell Crowe.
Oh yeah, I watched that
That
recently.
was an
It good.
interesting one.
It was
Yeah.
really good. I watched it in the last year or so. I enjoyed it.
Better than expected type of flick, that one.
Most definitely The Predator in 2018. That's what it was.
I don't know if I've ever seen that, and I don't know if I ever want to.
I don't want to see it.
That has Olivia Munn in it.
I mean, whatever. She's fine, but like,
Boyd Holbrook,
all the
Trevante
movies.
Rhodes, Jacob Tremblay, Keegan
The pussy face.
Kekel Michael
Kegel
Key.
exercise Keen.
No,
Kegel
it's
exercise.
Kekel Michael
Kegels.
Key. Olivia Munn.
Special K.
Tom
Kegel
Jane.
Oh, Tom
Jake
Jane.
Busey is in it. Dude, Jake Busey plays
Busey.
keys in it. What?
Jake
What
Busey.
the
I
hell?
love me some Jakey Buse.
I love Jake Busey, dude, but I can't believe that he plays his dad's character, bro.
bro.
Who else? Who else would be better for it?
Well, I'm not saying anybody
What was the
would.
Jake
I'm just
Busey
saying
that we were talking? What were we talking about? His role, his photo in IMDb is so
is
goddamn
super
good.
weird.
Anyways, we're all over
I
the
don't
fucking
know, man.
place. It's like
who cares? Whatever.
anything else.
All right, Dan.
All right, Dan. Exactly. Thank you.
Let's do the NDR.
That was perfect, Benny. That was fucking perfect.
Thank you.
Oh shit, dude!
Shut the fuck
I did
up,
not
Donnie.
realize that.
Focus.
No,
You're out
I'm
of your
not.
element.
He did. He was in
Focus,
Stranger.
Tiffany.
Dude, did you guys realize that Jake Busey was in Stranger Things season 3?
That's probably where we got on the topic of him. 100%. Who was he in that? I'm sorry, Benny. I'm sorry. I'm playing along.
That's all right. No, let's switch gears. I'm not going to tell you just to annoy you. What?
That's nuggets. Any nuggets? There's lots of them. The James Bond thing, I think, is the coolest nugget. That and the Lawrence Fishburne
I agree.
bear. Lawrence Fishburne bear is pretty epic.
I agree with you. I had one other that I liked. 1 second. This one's pretty cool. Harry's hotel room is 714. That is also the badge number for Joe Friday.
Oh, hell yeah.
On the 1951 Dragnet, which I think is perfect. Right?
That's
On
perfect.
purpose?
That's probably like a nerdy coincidence, but I'm willing to play ball.
I'm going to say they threw that in on purpose.
You did. That was you. That was your
They
decision
do
on
that.
set, right?
Right. Yeah. I said, hey, we're going to make this 7. It was 724, and I switched it.
You changed it around.
All in disguise.
Right.
Like.
That was that was some quick thinking by old
Wouldn't surprise me.
Moynihan there, with the whole when the cops are coming, he's like, "Oh no, that's level 512 or 520 or whatever." She's a
Right.
clever one.
She is.
I got no other real.
There wasn't really. I mean, there's like interesting
whatever,
little
yeah, it's kind of interesting,
tidbits, but nothing like really that was.
It's Larry
super
Fish.
amazing.
Larry Fish is where it's at.
I agree. That's a
He's
great one.
The nugget of the night.
All right, deaths. We actually ended
We all
up
died like
having
70
a good-
times in that last shit show sequence.
There was a little bit of a frenzy there at the end. Pink mist and so forth.
I missed the
So-
Gay Perry being the same as Gay Perry, like as in Paris, which I kind of like. I kind of like that little nuggety
I thought
nod.
that was cool. Yeah.
Gay Patty.
Gay belly. So I ejected
It's a
on
very nice.
I ejected on Monahan,
We already got the one.
and then I
Don't think
ejected
of it
on
too keen,
Kilmer,
you see.
and then I ejected on stupidest thing I've ever said, Contender Lethal Weapon 5 story, which I thought was stupid after I vomited out the entire thing. And then let's see, Preston had Shane Black wrote Die Hard Death, and then Nuggety Slab had the Shane Black wrote the original Predator Death.
Hey man, I'm going nowhere.
Oh shit!
Let's
That's
do
who
my-
you are.
Predator
I'll
pussy
give you
face
slab.
giggles.
I like it.
That's great.
Jeez, you got a big pussy. Jeez, you got a big pussy. Get it? Because the echo.
I do want to throw out a shout out to fucking Michelle Moynihan. My dad was visiting over Christmas and whatever, and he was like, "Oh, let's watch this random movie," and it was The Family Plan. The Mark Wahlberg is a fucking secret assassin movie where Michelle Moynihan is his wife, and like, let me tell you, it is fucking terrible movie. I didn't actually have to tell you; you knew that already without even knowing about the movie. But there's a scene in the towards the end of the movie where it turns out like Michelle Moynihan's character is like a former state champion pole vaulter, and so like she needs to stop some assassins from assassinating, and she grabs like a chunk of bamboo to do a pole vault to save the day. And there's she just runs full tilt with this bamboo pole, and you expect her to do like some Jean-Claude Van Damme shit, but the bamboo just explodes as soon as she does it, and she just eats shit so hard that just shout out to Michelle Moynihan for that one.
Nice.
It has nothing to do with this movie, and you should not watch that movie, but I just shout out to Michelle Monaghan's pole vault in that movie.
Sweet.
It's it's like what would happen if punk rock Steven Seagal tried to do a keto.
Exactly.
Totally.
Exactly. All right, recommendations. I mean, how can you not recommend this one?
Dude, this is a 1000% recommend.
And it's a watch again. It's a watch again immediately. It is way too much fun.
Fuck yes. So good.
And it's
Shot
one that you
with
could
the
probably
commentary.
watch with the missus, and she'll put up with it and potentially even enjoy it kind of movie. A lot of stuff we do is so nerdtastic that you have to have like the best girlfriend ever to put up with the shit that we do, aka you do, or Jarheegs.
Yes,
but this one is much more broad appeal. No pun intended.
Yeah,
Snaps
agreed.
did quite enjoy this.
It's a good one. It's a great one.
Yeah, it is. It really is. It's up there. Like it's one of those ones that I kind of forget about, and then when I see it, I'm like, damn, this has got to be like in my top 15.
Yeah,
know,
dude.
Like it's really good.
It's too much fun.
I love that. I like that. Preston, I put that Kramer meeting Fred Savage clip in the chat. That's exactly what I thought of when you were talking about like going up to being like a crew worker on a set and going up to a celebrity. that encompasses it quite well.
Kramer. These pretzels are making me thirsty.
No, this is better than that bullshit.
Yeah.
Oh fuck! I didn't link the whole thing. You know,
I like you ejected. It's the end of the show, man. Come back to us. Goose hit the canopy on the way out, bro. Come on.
We're so close, man.
We're so close.
I never left. What do you mean?
What are you talking about? I'm totally not watching YouTube right now. I like how it's like it was kind of like you're in the middle. It was like you're like trailing off in the middle of the intro, you know?
I purposely set my camera up this way so you couldn't tell what I'm doing.
Yeah, never.
Yeah, never.
I can see the reflection
Never,
of YouTube
ever,
in your
ever.
fucking retinas, dude.
No, see, the camera's here, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the screen is.
That's right. That's, yeah.
Yeah, you can still see the reflection in your
Yeah, I can still see. You know,
Screen is
looking at
there.
the camera.
Can
There's like a
almost see
mirror on the
image in
wall
your
the whole
forehead.
time.
You zoom in far enough, I can see the YouTube logo in the corner of the screen.
Get out of here. You can't see shit.
He's like, all right, guys,
Son of
thank you for
bitch.
joining us for. This is good.
Hey, that's my line. Hey, okay. So, listen, folks.
Instagram.
We want to thank everybody for joining us for this very special second edition of our Val Kilmer Requiem, featuring our good friend of the show, Nuggety Bob, and his wonderful insights from working on the production. That was fantastic. Thank you
Say
very
hi to
much,
your mom
buddy.
for me.
Yeah.
Hey. Donkey.
Say hi to your mother for me. So, yeah, that's it. And we'd like to thank everybody for joining us, which is what I kind of just said, but I'm going to say it again a different way. And be on the lookout for that 300th show. It'll be being released at some point in the future.
Not in order.
Not in order.
For those of you, this is the perfect thing. Is
You're
like
not-
Downey Jr. halfway through is like, did you guys pick it up? Did you guys watching this at home pick up the thing? Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
Wait, aren't
good.
we
That's
after the 300th episode? So you already enjoyed it.
No,
Yeah.
no, that's the
No,
beauty of
because
this. is that we're releasing
this one.
After
We're just
the-
changing the number on the episode.
Oh,
That's the trick.
that's right.
We're just going to switch them around.
This is
299.
quite
the
possibly the
old
stupidest fucking
switcheroo.
idea we've ever
300th
had.
episode, but
It's just the old switcheroo.
Technically.
Kansas City Shuffle.
Exactly. Exactly.
There you go.
It's fitting jank for this
The old
podcast.
fucking
That's right.
Idaho
Nice.
pie eating contest.
Iowa.
Iowa. Well, you're in Idaho. That's why.
So-
You know, it was a reference to Nuggety Bob's current domicile.
Hey, potatoes ain't the only thing
So
that
what do
they
you,
grow.
Chad? What should I?
Hey.
What should I do for the outro?
I don't know, mate. Trail off halfway through and watch a video.
No, really. What should I do for the outro?
I don't know. I think you should bullshit it.
Start
and just
introducing
say,
Groundhog Day again.
I think you should bullshit it and just say like, thanks for joining us for this. And then on the outro, just being like, and next week we're going to celebrate our 300th episode because this is the 300th episode. I think that'd be funny.
I mean,
and then
we could call this episode 299B.
Yeah, we could. I think it's kind of funnier as 300 or 301. So you should do like, you can see the show notes at ebd.fm/episodes/301. Thanks for joining us.
All right.
We'll see you next week for the episode 300. I think it's retarded. I think it's funny.
I think it's fucking great. Yeah. All right. So that's what I mean. Should I say next week we're doing Conan?
You should say next week we're doing our 300th episode. We're doing Conan. Yeah.
Which is 300 is going to be Groundhog Day.
I like
exactly.
It. All right.
Again.
We have to say goodbye, right? Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for. We want to say again, thank you to Nuggety Bob for joining us. Thanks everybody else for joining us, and that's it. Say goodbye, everyone.
See ya.
Goodbye, everyone.
Arrivederci, Charlie.
And that's going to wrap up this week's episode, folks. If you'd like to,
you can't even do it.
And that's going to wrap up this week's episode, folks. If you'd like to check out the show notes for this episode, you can do so at your podcast app of choice. I literally have to cover Chad's face, or I can't. I'm gonna
hey,
fucking
I'll turn
laugh.
off my video.
If you want to check out the show notes for this episode, you can do so in your podcast app of choice. Order a website, ebd.fm/episodes/301. And as always, we'd like to thank everybody for tuning into the show, supporting us these many years. We really, really appreciate it. And if you would like to help out in the helping, you can do so in a number of great ways. You can rate us and review us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also
you can also watch episode 300.
You can also watch episode 300. You can also leave us a nice review wherever you get your podcasts. You can also tell your friends to check out the show. And you can also support us directly on Patreon. That's right, with actual, real, fake money. Additionally, if you'd like to join in on the social craziness, you can join us on Instagram at EBD Podcast is the handle we use. So come join us, folks. And that's it. Thanks for joining us for this special edition Val Kilmer Requiem of Kiss Kiss Bang Bang with Nuggety Bob. And we will see you next week for episode 300, Conan the Barbarian. So long for now, folks.
Got a bottle of Dom on ice and then a shove a hot pepper up your ass, baby.